there, and welcome to No Small Life, where we help you rebuild a life you love no matter what you've walked through.
Your life is not small. You don't have to live it that way any longer. We are Chris and Megan Rea, and today we're talking about the 5 essential elements that make a great story.
When authors go to create a great story, there are 5 essential elements, and they're this: characters, setting, plot, conflict, and resolution.
These are the 5 key elements that make a great story. And why do we bring this up today? Because these 5 elements are part of your story and my story. It's the reason we can relate to them so much in movies and in books, because it's in real life as well. And without an understanding of how these 5 elements impact our lives can feel so small and insignificant, and we don't want that. Right. We're here to live full, well-rounded, and meaningful lives. We're celebrating.
Each of these elements affects your life and your story's outcome. Today, we're going to talk about how the characters in your story play both a positive and a negative role. Each week after that, we're going to be talking about one more key element of your story.
So you are the main character of your story. That's right, you have the lead role and everything rotates around you. And just like you're the main character, there's many other supporting characters around you that play a role in your adventure. Every character in your story affects the main character, you. So here are some of the supporting characters in your story: your parents, your siblings, your kids, your friends, and even your enemies. They all play a role in your story. So every good story revolves around one main character, and there's several supporting characters, and there's usually a villain or an enemy as well. And so the whole story, the plot, everything revolves around the characters. So when you look at your life, you got to understand that the first characters who played a role in your life were your parents.
Right.
They played a crucial role. They had the ability to really set you up for success or to make it a life a little bit harder for you. Maybe you had fantastic parents who were always there for you and invested time and money and love and wisdom into your life. That's definitely going to set you up for more success. Maybe your parents abandoned you. Maybe your parents weren't very good at being parents. Maybe your parents just did what their parents did to them. Maybe you were verbally or physically abused by the people in your life, your parents, who were supposed to be the ones who protected you. Maybe your parents went the opposite route. They didn't want to hurt you. They didn't want to discipline you, so they pretty much did everything for you and gave everything to you. And now you don't feel like you really know how to do much in life. You see, your parents played a huge role in your story.
Other crucial characters in your story, if you have them, were your siblings, the ones who grew up in the home with you. The only other people on the planet who knew exactly what it's like to be raised in the same home as you were. This can create a huge bond between you and your siblings, or it can also have the opposite effect and create a lot of strife between you two. Maybe your sibling is your best friend. Maybe you're just not talking to your sibling that much anymore. Our siblings play a huge role in the comfort and well-being that we feel, or the dysfunction that we experience in our stories.
If you have kids, they play a crucial role in your story as well. Your kids can bring you the most pleasure and also the most pain. Maybe you have a great relationship with your kids and they look up to you like you're Superman or Wonder Woman. Maybe your kids are in that know-it-all stage in life where they think you're old and out of touch and they know more than you now. Maybe you made some mistakes raising your kids and you hurt them, and now you're struggling with the guilt or shame or repercussion of those mistakes. Maybe you're super proud of your kids right now. Maybe you're a little bit embarrassed by your kids right now. Whatever role it is, our kids, if you have kids, play a role in your story.
Friends play a huge role in our story as well, because we all need a community of people to do life with. People we can be our true selves with. People who know and accept us for who we are. People we have fun and can go on adventures with. People you can go to when you're not okay. And people you can be there for when they're not okay. Friends shape our stories. In fact, most good books or good movies have a friend or a group of friends they do life with.
That's why I think the show Friends will go down in history as one of the most watched and iconic sitcoms of all times. Because you had these fantastic characters who had great personalities, and their lives had all these up and downs. They experienced heartache and pain and joy, but the one thing that stayed the same is their friendships.
Yeah, they did it all together, right?
I think we all long for that. A group of friends that were at the coffee shop every night of the week that you could just stop by and have a coffee with. Or an open door policy in the apartments, where you just showed up unannounced and everyone was there and you got to do life together. People long for that. They long for a group of people to share in their story that they can be vulnerable with and enjoy life with. You see, friends, or lack thereof, shape our stories.
Joey doesn't share food.
And last but not least, every good story has some kind of enemy in it. Some kind of person who kind of goes against what the main character is trying to do. I think that's why I love the movie The Matrix so much. Because here you have Neo, who set out to save the world, and he's this amazing guy who has all these characters around him who believe in him. You got Morpheus, who's like a father figure to him who believes in him. You have Trinity, a woman who she loves him unconditionally. She believes he's the one. She looks at him with that gleam in her eye, and he just loves that, and he feels like he can conquer the world. But then you have Agent Smith, who's the antithesis of Neo.
Mr. Anderson.
He's trying to destroy the world that Neo's trying to save.
Right.
And without Smith, there's not a very good story. And just like a movie, there's people in our stories who try to throw our lives off course. They hurt us. They create pain. They make our lives harder, not easier. They create drama and trauma in our lives. People we know we need to forgive and let things go because it's affecting our hearts, but it's so hard because they have hurt us and created pain in our lives. On top of that, there's a spiritual enemy who's constantly trying to get our lives off course. He's lying to us and trying to convince us we don't have what it takes to accomplish what we want in this life. So those are the characters of your story, and all of them affect your life. But you are the main character. How would you describe yourself if someone was writing about you? Would you describe yourself in a positive way? Or would you describe yourself in a negative way? Would you call yourself a hero? Would you call yourself brave? Or would you describe yourself with negative words? The villain, the loser, the one who never gets it right. Why do I ask? Because the way you view yourself determines the direction of your story. It's the difference between living a small and insignificant life and living a full, well-rounded, and meaningful life. It's so important to describe yourself and see the positive things in you and let go of the negative ones. If you're having trouble seeing yourself in a positive light, let me tell you how God sees you. God chooses to see you as a righteous son or daughter because he sees his son Christ in you. He chooses not to look at your faults and your failures any longer. Paul says we're justified in God's sight because of Christ. And that word justified means just as if I never sinned. He says we're reconciled to God, and that God literally chooses not to remember our sins anymore, not to count our sins against us. He says, as far as the east is from the west, so far have I removed your sin from you. He says we are adopted into his kingdom, which makes us righteous heirs of the throne. He chooses to see and develop the parts of you that bring joy and good things to this world. He chooses to continually transform our hearts and soften them so we can see people the way he does. He sees you as the hero of your story, and he has good plans for your future. You see, what you believe about yourself shapes your belief system. Your belief system shapes your mind. Your mind shapes your behaviors, and your behaviors shape your future. That's why it's so important to believe that you're the hero in this story, not in a cocky or arrogant way, but in a humble way. That there's good ahead for your future.
Listen, friend, here's the truth. We believe in your story. We believe in you as the main character of your story, and that God has authored a good story for your life. And we just want to encourage you, if you are not a part of our Facebook community, we'll put a link down below. It's a private Facebook group. And each week during this month, we're going to be putting a challenge in there to help you apply these truths of what you're learning about your story, because we believe in the transformation and the amazing plot, ending, conflict, resolution, all that things of your story. We believe that. We want to help you see it through.
So that's all we have for you today. Be on the lookout for our next video coming your way next week. And if you haven't yet subscribed, feel free to do so right now. Maybe click that bell so you get notified every time we come out with a new video. And we also want to let you know that No Small Life is a nonprofit organization run on the donations of people, and you can get more information along with a lot more content on our website, nosmalllife.me. Have a great day, everyone, and remember, your life is not small.
Bye, guys.